Hello everyone again, welcome to our curling TV. I'm now joined by Bruce Mouat's Scotland curling team who are joining us obviously from Scotland but in slightly different locations. Well, actually three in Glasgow and one in Edinburgh. And firstly, Bruce, how's things? How have you been coping with the last few months?
Yeah, the last few months have been a bit better than what the first few months of lockdown were. The guys and me are back on ice. We've maybe not seen each other as much as we had before, but we're enjoying being back on the ice.
And how's that working, Hammy, on the ice in August? It's taken a wee while, but you are back on the ice. How's it working?
Yeah, we're meant to be back on ice in the start of July, second week in July, but obviously with COVID-19 that wasn't able to happen, so there's been a lot of behind the scenes work done by British Curling in conversation with the Scottish Government to try and get us back indoors, because indoor sports is still not technically allowed, so we've got special permission to be back indoors, but with a lot of safety protocols. One person in the building to go in the building at one time. We'll have to kind of queue outside till we get to go in, all our shoes and our equipment in a box. Then we've got to go through the whole facial recognition and temperature checks before we go in. And then once that kind of gives us the green thumbs up to say go ahead, then we get to go to our own warm-up area. And inside's all about kind of keeping that 2 metre distance.
What is, in reality, Bobby, what is that actually like to do all that?
Well, it seems like a lot from what Hammy said there, but I think you kind of get into the routine of it, and it's good that they're making these kind of measures and taking safety pretty serious and looking out for everyone involved. But I think we're all just kind of glad to be back on the ice and having some form of training.
Yeah, and Grant, that is the bottom line, just getting back. What was that first moment back on the ice like then?
I think we're all a little bit rusty. First few slides were always take a wee while to get used to it again, but obviously we're not allowed to train as a team yet either, so it's not quite perfect in that sense, but me and Hammy are doing a lot of training together, and Bruce and Bobby are doing a lot of theirs together at the moment.
So what's the training be like, Grant, at the start when you knew you were in lockdown? What kind of things did you do? Because obviously none of us could really go anywhere or do much. So
no, we all tried really hard to kind of keep fit and still make some progress with our strength and conditioning kind of sessions, and a lot of conversations with our strength coaches and make the most of what equipment we had. Some of us had more opportunities with that than others, and yeah, it was good. And it was also a nice chance to kind of have a break and a bit of downtime and spend a bit more time with the family.
Yeah. What about not being together, Bobby? Because you guys kind of, when you're on tour and traveling, you're pretty much living on top of each other, aren't you? And did you miss them?
Not particularly, no.
Yeah.
It's probably nice for us all to get a wee break because we obviously see each other so much, but I mean, we still kept in contact every week and had Zoom calls and just kind of caught up once a week, so that was good.
Yeah. And what were those Zoom calls like, Hammy?
Yeah, they're again, I think everyone tried to find time to do things with their evenings during lockdown, so we ended up doing a kind of team quiz. I think it was every Thursday night we had a quiz, and then it was just a catch up of any updates from the team coach Alan, because he was kind of kept in the loops regarding training or updates and all that kind of stuff. So it was fun. It was good to see the guys every once a week. What
kind of training have you been doing, Bruce? What have you been doing? Anything differently at the start of lockdown that you're doing now?
Well, I did a lot of running. I enjoyed it when I was growing up anyway, and I didn't have a lot of equipment, so running was quite easy for me. Just put on a pair of shoes and go out for a run. And we've been trying to, with my coach as well, we've been trying to increase the distance I go over 12 minutes. And thankfully that has increased, and I'm pretty sure a bunch of the other people in the squad have been doing the same.
It's pretty much, because I'm talking to a few people in different sports, Hammy, and they're saying that, we're all in the same storm here, but we're in slightly different boats in the way we adapt and the way we tackle things. So everybody's had a different approach to getting through this, haven't they?
Yeah, I mean, when the World Championships got cancelled and my part-time job stopped, I made that conscious decision to go back down to Stranraer to see the family. So I ended up staying there for roughly 18 weeks. And plus side to that, my sister, she's a PT, so she had gym equipment there already. So for me, it was a no-brainer really to either be stuck in a flat with no equipment in Glasgow or go home, see the family, and get to use PT equipment that my sister already had. So, I mean, I was lucky, one of the lucky ones, I would say, in a good boat, as you said, to be able to train just about as normal as I would in a gym. So I was very fortunate.
And no competitive action, and obviously that meant that the worlds were a casualty as well. Bobby, have you recovered from that disappointment of not being able to represent Scotland and on home ice as well?
Yeah, I mean, that was a kind of hard one for us to take at the time, I think, obviously, because especially it was in Glasgow and going to be that home worlds. And I mean, not many people get the opportunity to do that, so that was one thing we're really looking forward to. But I think we kind of got over that after a couple of weeks and just set new goals and focus on them and give us something to work towards for the future.
What about competitive action, Grant? How's that looking for the season coming up?
Yeah, we've tried to make plans as best as we can, and we're very hopeful we're able to get to Switzerland quite a lot, and they seem confident we're able to run a few events. And again, fingers crossed, that next big goal of the Europeans is still able to go ahead in November.
Yeah, November's going to be a big one, because that's the chance to. You're quite good at the Europeans.
Oh, 1-for-1's a pretty decent record, but we didn't really get the chance to defend the title last year, so we'll hopefully get that chance this year.
Yeah, and that's what are the targets then for the season, Bruce? Well, if everything kind of slots in, the plans slot in, what's the goal for this season?
Well, obviously Europeans have a good championship there, and then we've got our Scottish Championship in February, so we're looking to hopefully win that again, and then be representing Scotland in, I think, Ottawa at the start of next year. It's probably the main three goals.
Yeah, and it's just, everything's just so uncertain right now. How do you know where you are as a team right now? How soon can you gauge that?
No, I think it is, as you're saying, it's difficult to know where you stand against other teams as well, but we've kind of got to trust in what we're doing individually for a wee while and just keep putting the work in that sense, and hope when we get the chance to come together we can pick up where we left off at the end of last season.
And I suppose also so many other teams are in exactly the same position as you. In fact, some teams might not yet be able to get back on the ice, Hammy. So everybody's kind of in the same position, more or less, aren't they?
Yeah, you think so. I think Switzerland's a bit more open than other countries. See Instagram there this morning, the Czech girls were in Füssen. So I mean, there's doing team stuff. So there's a few guys who got better opportunities, but I mean, we're just happy to be back on ice. The team sessions for us are the tough ones, because obviously to sleep together, if it was me and Bobby sleeping in one of Bruce's stones, we've got to be less than a metre apart. So right now the guidelines for that don't allow that for us. So yeah, it's tricky times at the moment, but as you said, most people are in a similar situation.
And I do feel also for people that can't access facilities right now, just members of the public and the community that can't get to gyms, they can't get to swimming pools. So in a way, you guys are quite lucky, Hammy, and I know you feel quite strongly about that, don't you?
Yeah, well, obviously I work for Active Stirling as well, which is a company in Stirling that has a facility, a huge sports complex. So the fact that we can't get that open, and I mean, sport and fitness and it's all part of everyone's health and well-being, and mental health is such a big part of that these days. And I mean, a lot of sport people have the same view, where why can the pubs be open now and not the gyms? I mean, there'll be better safety protocols in gyms than there are in pubs. So yeah, it'd be nice to see them open a bit quicker than the suspected date, which is the 14th of September.
And also, Bruce, do the curlers think about points and Olympics, and do you feel even that might be up in the air as well?
Yeah, I think most teams will start thinking about that this season, and we all know that it's now the points have kind of been held off until October. So it's definitely on our minds, and we're obviously going to be training pretty hard to get that spot at the Olympics, but you never know what's going to happen, and we're just going to try and take it every decision lightly and maybe not try and focus too much on all the tough situations that could face us in the next year.
But it is a massive. The Olympic Games is a massive deal, and that I mean that's the goal, isn't it? Grant, over to you.
Yeah, it's no secret that's what the four of us are all dreaming of getting to and competing at. So we've just got to keep that goal in our minds and keep working towards it. And if it's a slightly moving target or unknowns, we've got to deal with them when they come.
I'm going to ask you all if there's anything you've discovered about yourself during lockdown that you didn't know before, or something that you've tried that you didn't do before that you're going to maybe continue because you think, okay, I'll give that a go. I have discovered yoga. So there's my thing. Let's start with you, Bruce. Is there anything you've discovered about yourself?
Well, I did quite a bit of yoga at the start as well. I enjoyed that. Found out that I could cook at a reasonable level. I wasn't maybe that good before, but I feel like I'm improved in that aspect of my life.
What's your speciality?
Well, I love a chili or a bolognese or something like that. So that's probably the main ones that I've been going for right now.
Right, good for you. What about you, Hammy?
I was quite lucky going back home. I got all my dinners made for me, so I can't really complain with that. Yeah, for me it was fun. I'm back home and I would say, I learned how to build things. I would say me and my mum's partner built a summer house. So down the bottom of the garden, so that was fun, and I learned how to make a poached egg. So that's I could never make them before. They kept going everywhere in the pan. So yeah, I learned how to make a poached egg in lockdown. So that's kind of my biggest thing I've done.
Well, now you're on your own, you'll be having a lot of poached eggs.
So that's it. Every breakfast.
Bobby, is there anything that you've done or learned?
Well, we actually had this conversation a couple of days ago about stuff that we'd learned during lockdown and that, and I was telling the boys that I started trying to learn the piano, but gave up easily after a couple of weeks because it just wasn't going my way. But I'd say also probably running as well, because at the start of lockdown, that was something I was really pretty bad at, but kind of one of them things where I'm bad at, I just want to get good at it, and I just kind of stuck at it and starting to see some progress, which is nice.
I think you can see faster progress with running than you can with the piano. I think piano's quite a difficult thing to do. I would be impressed had you learned it in 2 weeks.
No, definitely not.
What about you, Grant?
Yeah, nothing too exciting. Actually, when lockdown kind of began, I had all the kind of team bag and the brush bag, so I had a kind of warm up stuff, and Hammy and Bruce would always skip. So I set myself a target of trying to learn how to skip because I was really awful at it before. So that was something I managed to achieve in the first couple of weeks, and next time they're warming up, I'll maybe join them. But no, apart from that, I also learned to play backgammon.
Okay.
Found a wee backgammon set or whatever you call it at home, and me and my dad had a few games most nights at the start of lockdown. So, yeah.
What's going to be the best thing about being back together again as a team and playing together as a team, Bruce?
Well, it's just having the guys around you. It's something that I've not been able to have for 5 months, and it's I enjoy their company most of the time, and it's just going to be able to kind of travel and play, and that's why I feel like we're such a good team, is that we get on well together and we all have the same goals.
Hammy?
Yeah, pretty much similar to what Bruce just said. It was obviously very disappointing at the end of last season to miss out on World Championships and 2 Grand Slams. So I think for us, it'll just be looking forward to getting back together and hopefully hitting the ground running the way we kind of finished off last season.
And Bobby, do you think you're going to adapt? How are you going to adapt to the new guidelines or rules that are potentially going to be there? You've had a wee taste of it, haven't you?
Yeah, I think we just need to follow what's happening and stick to the guidelines and see how that progresses. But I think more than anything, we're just kind of looking forward to getting some competition back between us all and kind of putting what we've worked towards during lockdown and starting training this last couple of weeks into competition and see how we get on.
And Grant, what would you say to the Scotland fans of your team in particular out there? What would be the message to them about how you all are and what's going to be coming?
Yeah, just say we've been working hard behind the scenes, kind of quietly going about our job in lockdown, and we're really hopeful that our Scottish supporters are also able to get out and support us in Norway. That's another thing we don't know. If we've had kind of friends and family say they're looking at flights, but we're still not sure if that's able to happen. So it'd be great if they could get out and cheer us on there as well.
Well, good luck to you all. Let's just wait and see actually how things develop, because we, as you say, Grant, we just don't know. But curling will be back, that's for sure. Thank you very much indeed for joining us, guys. That was brilliant. Thank you.